Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh Blaylock, and this is the Skype for Business recap. It is another beautiful Friday, and it is freaking cold outside. I guess, that's all relative. To me, it feels very cold outside. It's probably in the 20s, maybe just getting into the 20s today, and that's just too cold for me. In the next couple days here, it's going to be a low of like 10 or 11, and I just... and to think I grew up in Michigan as a kid. I don't know how I ever did that. But anyway, it is what it is. It's cold outside. That's just a fact of winter. So moving on, and that's why we need to have giant mugs of hot coffee. So yeah, it keeps us fueled, but warms us up, especially in a cold home office in the basement part of the home. So at any rate. Got several things on the agenda to talk about today, and which, I went through everything that I could find out there over the week, and I kind of had a hard time picking things out. There wasn't anything seriously earth-shattering to announce or anything like that, but it was just very busy and chatty anyway. A whole lot of, evangelizing going on rather than product announcements or things like that. A whole lot of opinion pieces, that kind of stuff. So, which is not really the kind of thing that I dig into as often. If I see a really good one that I think should be called out, I do. But for the most part, we kind of want to talk about what's new in the previous week. So, wading through some of that takes time. But I did manage to come down with a handy-dandy little list here in OneNote, and I'm going to go ahead and start jumping right into that. The first thing I've got is a little something that was shared by Mr. Jamie Stark. Now, for those of you that don't know who Mr. Jamie Stark is, he is the Skype for Business product manager at Microsoft. He's quite active on Twitter and on LinkedIn as well. Just within the community in general, he does a whole lot of sharing and evangelizing out there. He's also got the Skype for Business broadcast that he started up shortly after I actually kicked off this series. And that's kind of, is it monthly or every couple weeks? I think it's every couple weeks, and it's a longer show, and they kind of do a deeper dive on different product areas. And Jamie's usually on that. But at any rate, that's Jamie, and he shared a teaser photo, if you will, of Skype for Business Voice Solutions poster that they are working on, kind of a prototype, and it's looking pretty good. He said it's not done, and there's still some work being done there. He shared that on Twitter, and that's kind of exciting, kind of a cool new poster to finally have out there. I don't know how many times I've gone back and referenced and dug into the Lync Server 2013 posters for all different types of traffic flow and firewall rule references, etc. And the posters have always been extremely helpful. And so seeing this one coming out there, it's pretty cool. So thanks for sharing, Jamie. Looking forward to the official ones making their way out there for us. Something else that was shared by Jamie last week, but that I did not catch until it was shared again by Mr. Tom Arbuthnot, who is, as I've said many times on the show, an Office Servers and Services MVP. Tom referenced Jamie's announcement on his blog, tomtalks.uk. And the announcement was in regards to the service level agreements that have been published/updated for Skype for Business Online. There was voice quality in there, and let me actually just go and pull up the page so that we can reference each of these carefully here. All right. So Tom did a great job of kind of breaking up the different levels that the SLAs come into play on his blog. And the first one that he showed us here was the Skype for Business Online service level agreement. Now that's pretty top level, Skype for Business Online SLA. This is factored by user minutes minus downtime divided by user minutes times 100. So that's how they factor in the how they factor out that SLA. There's 3 tiers here as far as service credit goes. If you have less than 3 nines, so 99.9% service, you can get a 25% service credit. If you have less than 2 nines, just 99%, it is a 50% service credit. And if you fall below the 95% mark, 100% service credit. So that should help keep them on their toes as far as making sure that service stays available, which it's the type of service that really should be available all the time. So that's a good thing to see there. I'm sure there are those and certain camps who would like to see those numbers upped, of course, to 100%, refund across the board, service credit across the board for any outage. But that's just not the world we live in quite yet. So then we break it down a bit more to our Skype for Business Online PSTN calling and PSTN conferencing service level agreement. And this is cool because these are fairly new features, obviously. And they factor this again, user minutes minus downtime divided by user minutes, and then that number they times it by 100. Same service credits stand. Less than 3 nines, 25%. Less than 2 nines, 50%. And if you go drop below 95%, it's a full 100% service credit. So that's for the PSTN calling and PSTN conferencing. The Skype for Business Online voice quality SLA. Again, there is not a whole lot different. There isn't anything different in the service credit structure as far as 3 nines, 2 nines, 95. But the factor is a little different. They factor it by total calls minus poor quality calls divided by total calls, and then they take that number and times it by 100. And they have a few more, stipulations on what qualifies for an eligible call and a total call and a poor quality call. And one of these days, if we end up seeing UC Commander's underlying technology brought into the Skype for Business Online portal, that'll give us a better idea of what those metrics actually look like, presumably. So that'll mean a little more then, in my opinion. At any rate, those are the 3 areas that Tom broke down for us. Thanks for breaking that down so cleanly and succinctly, Tom. Appreciate it, as always. Jumping back over to my OneNote notes here, we had some updates that popped in over this last week, some client updates. First up, we have the Skype for Business 2016 client cumulative update, dropped February 9th. The KB article is 3114696. And there was a couple issues that were called out as being fixed here. One is a wrong monitor gets shared when you have a multi-monitor setup. This is something I had not heard of before, never experienced it myself. I haven't been running the 2016 client, so those of you that have been on the 2016 client, if you've noticed this and it's been a thorn in your side, time to update things. The second one that it addressed was you can't log on to Skype for Business 2016 automatically after you've applied the December 2015 update. So if you run into that, I can see that as being very annoying. And that's apparently addressed in this latest update. And of course, along with the 2016 client, there was also a Lync 2013 update released on February 9th. That KB article is 3114732. And going over to the, let's see, come here. All right. Going over to the actual support.microsoft.com KB article here, the issues that this update fixes are a little bit more than the previous one. First, we have call transfer button is missing when you answer a response group call in Skype for Business that is paired with a Polycom CX600. That's pretty specific. So if you have that exact scenario and you're noticing the call transfer button is missing after answering a response group call, this update will presumably fix that on your client. Can't log on to Lync 2013 automatically after you install the December 2015 update on a non-domain computer. So that's pretty similar to the other update for 2016. Lync 2013 client crashes when you park outline voice calls. I think, okay. All options in the right-click menu aren't working when you transfer a call to a searched user in Skype for Business. Wrong file size is displayed when you transfer a large file that is greater than 2 gigs in Lync 2013. And then no missed call notification generated in Lync 2013. Some of these are little minor things, and others are kind of big deals. So, if you run into any of these in your Lync 2013 or updated Skype for Business client on the 2015 model, if you run into any of these issues, might be time to update that client, because it looks like some of these are finally addressed here. So, client updates, always a good thing to get deployed out there. However, piggybacking off of the updates, something you should not update. .NET 4.6.1 has been released. However, the Exchange team at Microsoft has said, do not update your Exchange Server 2013 server components with this new .NET. You will have problems. Piggybacking off of that, the Lync Skype for Business team has said, do not install .NET 4.6.1 on any of your Lync or Skype for Business server infrastructure yet. Not supported. In terms of unified communications, obviously Lync and Exchange can work together pretty well. They get integrated pretty closely with a lot of features and functionality. So we want to wait till the Exchange team says 4.6.1 is good on the servers, and once we hear that, then we might see a all clear to put this on our Skype for Business or Lync components. I have a couple notes on why we should not be putting that on. So, and all these articles and links that I'm referencing, I'll make sure to try to include as many of them as possible, as always, in the description of the video on YouTube. The note that we have here, it's actually KB 3095369. This is the Exchange team telling us that mailboxes are quarantined and databases fail over unexpectedly in Exchange Server 2013. So these are the issues that they're saying are resulting from deploying .NET Framework 4.6 on your Exchange Server 2013 environment. And that version of .NET Framework is not supported. So, of course, the resolution is uninstall the update from the servers. All right, so yes, bad things will happen at this point if we install .NET 4.6 on Exchange. And to keep everything in line and updated the same, do not install it on the Lync and Skype for Business side. We need to wait a little while before tackling the new .NET Framework version. So that was the big news. If you're hoping I would kind of get on and talk about the Super Bowl a bit, give my thoughts on that. I am one of the 6 people, I think, in the United States that don't follow football or care about the Super Bowl at all. So, I just haven't really followed it. I probably should have been more interested this time because the Panthers were in the Super Bowl, and I live in North Carolina. I'm not from North Carolina, and the Panthers ended up getting whooped pretty bad anyway, from what I hear. I also hear there were some very questionable calls. I didn't hear which side of the fence those were on, but and that as far as the performances and halftime shows and all that, things were kind of lackluster. All this hype gets built up, and it ends up being something that most fans are just kind of disappointed with anyway. And I've actually kind of seen this repeated for the last couple Super Bowls now, so I'm not convinced that I need to jump on that bandwagon. Knowing the Panthers lost is about as much knowledge as I have of that game. So, at any rate, for those of you that were on the winning side of that, and I sound silly here, but I don't even know who they were. Was it Broncos? I don't remember who they were playing. Whoever it was, congratulations on that victory. That's awesome. I'm sure you guys had an awesome time on Sunday with that. And yeah, that's about it. There isn't a whole lot else for me to talk about right now. User groups are still ongoing. I've seen a lot of announcements and updates and pictures being snapped over in the Northwest as the user groups have been kicked off in various places. Mr. Jeff Schertz has been making the rounds, talking on the Polycom side of things. Mr. Jamie Stark also popped into I think the Bellevue user group to talk about Cloud PBX. So that would have been kind of a cool experience, hearing about Cloud PBX from one of the guys to really be in the midst of shaping and deploying this new aspect of Skype for Business Online for us. So cool stuff. This coming week, I will be going to the Charlotte user group unless anything comes up, and that should be Thursday. So again, for any of you that are going to be there, I look forward to seeing you. That'll be cool. And yeah, I don't know what else there is to say at this point. I guess that about covers it for the week. So I'm gonna go get warmed up a little bit here and then get ready to dive into some work. So for the rest of you, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you again bright and early on Friday morning next week. Adios.